What's going on, guys? Today we are back on one of my favorite river systems, and we're going to be looking for water dogs. Yes, that is actually what they're called. It is a giant aquatic salamander, a super rare one in fact, that happens to live here. Now I'm going to try with the net at first, but I've also got traps set out for big ones, so hopefully we get some. Water dogs, also commonly called mudpuppies, are a species of aquatic salamander found throughout the United States. And along the coast of Mississippi, the Gulf Coast water dog can occasionally be found living in rivers and bayous. So today, we're going to be checking some traps that are specifically set for these bizarre salamanders. But before that, I'm going to try netting a smaller one. Oh, mud puppy. Here we go. I got one. Little one. Exactly what I was looking for. Here we go. Woo, look at that! Haha! Little Gulf Coast mud puppy or water dog. What do I do? My hands are kind of wet. I got a little container here. Don't want to handle these water dogs for too long. And there we go. Check that out. That is a juvenile Gulf Coast water dog. Now, as you can see, they are an aquatic salamander species. They've got little gill frills on the side of them. These salamanders get a lot bigger than this. They get about 7 to 8 inches when fully grown, which is a pretty big salamander. Now, they can gulp air, so they can kind of breathe air a little bit, but they mostly get their oxygen from those little gill frills. They get oxygen out of the water with those. He's sitting there kind of opening his mouth, gulping at stuff. They're very cute. These guys are little predators along here. They eat little crustaceans. What they'll do is they'll actually fight up current sometimes. They normally try to stay along the edges, but they will go upstream when it's not flowing as hard and move around quite a bit in these little river systems. But really cool to see. We're gonna go ahead and put this little guy back and check the traps for a bigger one. All right, see you, little buddy. You gotta find your bigger cousins. Woo! Back into the leaves. All right, so this is our first trap of the day for water dogs. I set this not too long ago. Oh, got 1, 2. Oh my god. 3 big water dogs. Check that out. That is first trap. Let's freaking go. Hey buddies. Oh, they're so cute. There we go. Baiting that one. And then we'll just go wee. Wee. Oh, and there's a crawfish in there too. Bada booey. Crawfish. Oh, that's not what we're after though. This is what we were after. Right there. Have a look at those water dogs. That is what Gulf Coast water dogs are supposed to look like right there. Well guys, here we go. This is our Gulf Coast water dogs. We got 3 adults in the first. I had 7 traps set out here, and the first one got 3, so no reason to film anymore. I think 3 is a pretty solid day. Now you can see the biggest one, and I can actually take the liberty of holding them a little bit. You just don't want to grab them or anything like that, but you can actually hold them gently out of the water like that. Very slimy. They have a thin coat of slime over their entire body, which essentially protects them. It keeps a lot of different things off of them, but they're a very sensitive species. Anything that gets into these rivers, like fertilizers or anything like that, will really mess these guys up. Now, these would be considered adults. In fact, one of the ones in here is probably the biggest one that I've ever seen. I'm not sure which ones are males and females, but this would be their breeding season. They'll be laying eggs in here very soon, and they lay hundreds and hundreds of eggs, and they have lots of babies, and they live all up in this leaf litter. Now, the trap that I set for them a second ago was baited with just a little chunk of fish. These guys are very good scavengers. They do have teeth. They do actually have a pretty decent bite for an amphibian. And as you can see, one of the coolest things about this salamander species are those gill frills. They've got these big red frills, and that actually collects oxygen from the water and helps them breathe. They're a very specialized salamander species, and they happen to only live in this one river basin in the entire world. This is the only area you can actually find Gulf Coast water dogs. Now, there are other species of water dogs similar to these. A good example would be the Neuse River water dogs, although those are endangered, so They're nerds, terrible. They need to get better at the game, I guess. Gulf Coast water dogs are just arguably better than and common mud puppies. Common mud puppies are just everywhere. So it's like if you find one of those, just these are the best water dog possible. I'm not biased at all just because these are the only ones I can find. These are the best water dogs possible. Now a lot of people would look at these and go, oh wow, it looks like an axolotl. Yeah, they do. They're an aquatic salamander species, little stubby arms, the gill frills. A lot of these little aquatic underwater salamanders look pretty similar. They actually look kind of like a tiny Chinese giant salamander in a sense. Just that underwater build of most salamanders is pretty similar. So what I want to do real quick is actually take one out. Always got to wet your hands. And I'm going to get this one with both hands. Check that out. This is the biggest one. Looking at him, I'd say he's probably 7 inches long. This is a pretty decent size. I mean, look at that. That's a pretty big salamander, for sure. They can come out of the water. They actually can breathe air for short periods of time. It's not good for them long term. However, they can be out of the water for a little while. They have to do that anyway just to move around from different bodies of water or when other areas dry up. Now, these guys have a very thin slime over their body. And that's why I have to cover my hands with water before handling them. Most amphibians are like that. They're very slippery. I can't grab this salamander at all. That would hurt it. You definitely don't want to pull off any of that slime. You just kind of let them walk in your hand. They've got little stubby arms and a big paddle-like tail. Really pretty. Very little majestic salamander. They've got a little shovel nose. They dig up all up in these leaves, so they've kind of got a nose built to kind of lift up leaves as they keep moving. All right, back in the other two. There's little colonies of these all along here, and they're very difficult to spot. Most of the year, that camouflage, those speckling, very hard to spot up in this leaf litter. Unfortunately, a lot of people around here would see this as nothing but catfish or bass bait. A lot of people would catch these and think, oh, it's just another big salamander that lives along here. But these are actually a very special species that lives along these rivers, and one that definitely needs to have some further protection in the future, for sure, especially their ecosystems themselves. Rather than the salamander being protected, the best thing that we need to do with these guys is actually do our best to keep their river systems clean, keep their environments clean to where we can keep seeing them. They have a very high reproductive rate, and they are very common throughout their range. The important thing is that we actually protect the habitat that they live in by not putting a bunch of chemicals, fertilizers, or other things like that in the water to where we can keep seeing these guys in our rivers. Very beautiful salamanders. We're going to go ahead and dump them back, but that is awesome to see. And right from our first trap too, which is pretty cool. All right, see you little Waterdoggos. Well guys, that's it for today's video. We really hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing and check out some of our other salamander videos we've done as well. And we will see you guys next time.